Ladies and gentlemen, it is another Tuesday, which means it's another college football playoff ranking. Another day that I can critique War Emanuel, but he actually didn't do anything that I disagree with this time. Welcome to the Saturday Sanctuary. I'm your host, K Will.
It's your boy GP.
What's up? It's your boy BT.
And each and every week, 3 times a week, we're going to be here to make sure you guys are knowledgeable and well informed so you make some good bets, make some good plays, and some good parlays. We're going to jump right into it, of course, with none other than the college football playoff rankings. Already, we have the top 4 seeds, of course, going to the highest 4 conference champions. Of course, they're not necessarily projecting, they're just saying, they're just taking the top 4 seeded teams from each conference. And of course, at the 1 spot, we still got Oregon sitting there. And then at number 2, we have Texas representing the SEC, Miami at the 3 spot representing the ACC. And then, of course, we have Boise State, our Group of 5 champion there at the number 4 spot. We at one point never really seen them going higher than 12, but it's a new day, and now we have Arizona State projected to be in that 12 spot right now. And just to let you guys know at home, just in case you may not be well informed, we're going to make sure you're informed. If they are to be ranked higher than 12, they would not be sitting in the 12th spot, right? So if Arizona State was already ranked at 11, 10, 9, 8, whatever, they would stay in that spot. They would just be an auto bid, all right? So moving on here, we're going to go ahead and talk about those auto bids. How are we feeling about those? I feel like we don't really want to change anything, but do we feel like these could be the projections, essentially? Do we feel like these teams could go ahead and win out their conferences?
I would say all 4 of them that are currently projected could possibly win out the conferences. However, there is a possibility. I think Boise State is more likely to win there. They do play very quality opponents in their championship games that they're projected to be playing. So there's also a possibility that all 3 of them could be on the outside looking in and potentially be either hosting home games or being away teams in the first round, which would, I think, be sick nasty for them. That's not the result that they would want at all. I mean, Oregon probably would be in the best case scenario because, like,
Absolutely.
if they were to lose, you get the 5 seed and you play either the Big 12 champion or whoever is the highest rated, next highest rated, like Group of 5 champion.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be okay for them. But
How are you
other
feeling
than
about
that,
Arizona State, BT?
You say how am I feeling about Arizona State?
Yeah, how are you feeling about their chances, or just the Big 12's chances at all to remain in the playoff? I mean, like we heard ESPN, they were talking earlier, the AAC has an opportunity if the Big 12 just keeps beating up on each other and not in the way that the SEC is. You guys are already 2-loss, 3-loss teams. You mess around and keep losing, and then you got the Big 12 champion being ranked kind of low, and the AAC champion being ranked higher than them. They would take that 12 spot. Do you see something like that happening?
I'm not very sure. I actually potentially could see that happening. However, I'm not. I'm not very confident in either of the conferences, to be honest. With Arizona State, now I do believe that Tulane would be a very strong contender and representative. Anything is possible. Just as Grant aforementioned, 75% of the other auto bids could potentially lose in their conference championship game. So just really depends on what's going on and what brand of football they come to play with. But it is a young Arizona State team that's surging pretty hot at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. But of course, we do have Oregon. Let's just say Oregon does lose in their conference championship game. Do you feel like that's automatic room for the SEC to take that number 1 seed, or you do feel like the Big Ten champion automatically has that number 1 seed?
I believe that it leaves a lot of wiggle room, and not even wiggle room, a lot of room for the SEC champ to take over that number one team, that number one spot, especially like a team like UGA potentially. And of course, if Texas beats UGA, of course, like I said, they'll go from number 2 to number 1, in my opinion, because that then, like I said, they would have beat number 17 ranked in the nation, and like I said, that would give them their first top 10 win. So that'll be pretty significant for them. So it could bump them up. And of course, with us, it would just give us a win versus the number 1 team in the nation at their house and the number 2 team in the nation now at a neutral site, as well as a win against number 8 ranked Tennessee or number 9 ranked Tennessee. So like I said, that just continues to build Georgia's chances in cases with multiple wins in the top 10 versus top 10 opponents.
Yeah, that's true. Very true there. Welcome in, Los. You all right, brother? I know you had
So,
a
OVOXO.
workout.
Yeah, man. Had to get that little workout in. That joint was Not a fan of rope slams, man.
Hey, bro, ain't nothing but some work.
You've been
But you
on a
know we
good grind.
can't be big backs out here. So y'all ain't if ain't nobody else in y'all life told y'all out there, get your fat ass in the gym.
All right, but we'll keep it pushing with the college football playoff talk. We are just going to wrap this up real quick with talking about the auto bids. Of course, you can see they're low. Arizona State is sitting in that 12 spot now. But not even talking about them necessarily. We'll more so talk about Miami here. Do you feel like there's a chance for them to lose in the ACC championship and still be in the top 12 or top 11 essentially?
They could be in the top 11. For sure. Them losing though, I don't know. I'm really on the fence about that because the thing about SMU is they showed up when we said they would show up, like against Pittsburgh and stuff like that. But that offense ain't always 100%. But the thing about Miami is defense is cheats. So I mean they're very liable to give up some. If SMU is out there and the quarterback is rolling that day, if their quarterback is rolling that day, then things can go well for them. But Miami is also still Miami at the end of the day. So, but
Yeah.
I do think they'll stay top 11 for sure.
Yeah, of course, these are things that we'll be able to see play out live and in effect in front of us. Miami does have a big game in front of Syracuse. They'll be going against this weekend. Syracuse is not somebody to play with or to sleepwalk through. If they show up looking anything like they did against Georgia Tech, or honestly, if they show up looking like any of their half-ass versions, they will get beat. And they are playing Syracuse at Syracuse, so that's another effect. It's no telling what will happen because we don't necessarily know which Miami will show up. And of course, we got Texas. They'll be playing Texas A&M this weekend at Texas A&M. So again, we got two of the top four teams playing very pivotal games on the road this weekend to end the year off. So I like it. We'll talk about that game later. But we'll go ahead and move on to those 5 through 8 seeds. So these seeds right here automatically have that home game in the first round. Although they don't get that bye, they do get to play at the crib. So of course, at number 5, we have Ohio State. They've been sitting pretty right there, and they're probably going to remain right there. I don't know exactly what will happen if they lose in the Big Ten championship. We can talk about that in a second. At the 6th seed, we have Penn State. We talked about it. They kind of are just that one person in the group project. They just got to show up, dog. They don't really have to do anything. They're going to continue to sit in that 5 to 8 range and get that home playoff game. And for the life of me, I hope they get their ass whooped so they can stop just And then at the 7th seed, we have Notre Dame. That's a whole different conversation. Then at the 8th seed, good old Georgia. We finally got back in there to where we can get that home game in the first round. All right, how are we feeling about these 5 to 8 seeds? Specifically, let's just talk about Notre Dame and Georgia. That's 7 and 8. Because I think 5 and 6 being Penn State, they probably aren't going anywhere. 5 being Ohio State. We'll talk about that. That'll depend on what they do in the Big Ten championship game. What do we see for Georgia and Notre Dame if they win out? Do they move up? Do you see any games in front of them that would give them any reason to move up outside of obviously Georgia winning the SEC championship? Notre Dame doesn't have one. So what happens to them if they just simply win out and beat USC, BC?
I still believe. Notre Dame's going to be in a good spot. I mean, like I said, as long as they don't continue, as long as they don't get any additional blemishes on their record, they'll still be in the playoff. However, God forbid, I really can't see anything really bad happening to them. Maybe them dropping one seed or two, depending on some chaos. Yeah, they're really in the catbird seat as well. Notre Dame's good because, like I said, they don't play in the conference championship. They're independent, so they're good. They're going to always be an at-large team because they don't have an auto berth because they're not in the conference. So they're right where they need to be as long as they win out.
That's real. GP, let's say they lose the USC. Do you see them dropping out of that top 11, or do you just see them moving to that bottom tier, 9 through 11?
Part of me wants to feel like a 2-loss Notre Dame would still get in. But the only problem with those 2 losses is that those would be 2 unranked losses. One to NIU, who's a bad G5 team, and then one to USC, who's like a middle of the road Big Ten team. I think there's too much chaos of like who's right outside the bubble for them to be like automatically just in. Mm-hmm. But I do foresee the committee trying to put them in at like 11 maybe. I don't know.
I think they find themselves in a situation you're in some big trouble if you lose because if you end up dropping to 11, if Clemson wins out, let's say Clemson South Carolina, and then Miami takes care of business doing whatever they do, and Clemson doesn't have to go to the ACC championship, they're going to put Clemson in over them. Or I dare to say you have to. I don't see where you get off putting Notre Dame over Clemson.
Yeah.
Eye test, I don't know. I guess you could put that up in the air because I don't think Clemson looks that good outside of the defense at times. And then if you're talking resume, automatically, Clemson is definitely in over Notre Dame. Notre Dame has probably easily they would at that point have the two worst losses in the top 12. Easily. I mean, they have the single-handed worst loss in the top 12 right now, but at that point, you'd be a two-loss team that has the two worst losses in the top 12, so it's no way that happens. Los, if we're looking at Ohio State sitting at the 5 seed, we talked about Penn State. They are not moving as long as they just simply win. You got Ohio State. Pretty much we know they're going to go play Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. Let's just say Ohio State loses to Oregon again. I know you've been on the hook for saying that if they do that, they're not going to get out the playoff. Where exactly would you put them, though?
At that point, you move them below Penn State, unfortunately. And I know it sounds crazy, but off the strength of the shit happen, and if we are penalizing teams for taking that L in the bowl game, gotta drop them a little bit. You gotta drop below Penn State.
Yeah,
but
okay. So let's look at it this way. Let's just say those 5 through 8 seeds, right? Let's just look at it as we typically thought the 5 seed would go automatically to the Big Ten loser, or maybe, like you just said, it could just go to Penn State just because that's Ohio State's second time losing to Oregon, and maybe they just put Penn State there. So we're kind of looking at those 5 through 8 seeds going to either Big Ten loser, SEC loser, Notre Dame, or you're talking about those at large, probably SEC teams after Penn State.
So
who would have the best chance of taking? Who would have the best chance of being over Ohio State if they lose the Big Ten championship besides Penn State?
Penn State, and as long as Notre Dame doesn't lose, they will move. They would possibly move Notre Dame up to 6, and Ohio State would be. State would be 7. I know we're not gonna like that here, but that's just how I think it's gonna go. I mean,
I do want to take a look at Texas though. So let's just say they be in the same boat. Essentially, Texas. Let's just say they go to the SEC championship and they lose again to the same team they lost to in the regular season at home. They lose to them at home and then go and lose to them in Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium at the SEC championship. Where does Texas fall in that case? Let's just say it's a not perfect storm, but it's a little slight chaos. Let's just say Texas loses in the SEC championship and Ohio State loses in the Big Ten championship. Who's higher?
Ohio State is definitely lower. Huh?
I put Ohio State higher. Here's my reasoning for this. Ohio State would have they would have both lost to the same teams, but Ohio State would have still lost to the number 1 team in the country, whereas Texas would have lost to a 2-loss.
When I say that, I sound crazy though.
Are you saying
we throw in eye test for Georgia, and Georgia's in a tougher conference, playing a harder team?
No. Just hear me out.
That's one other caveat that you're also forgetting.
I wanna rewind a little.
Hold on, before we get to that, are y'all saying what the committee is gonna do, or what y'all think should be done? Clarify.
Both.
What I really think will happen. I'm not trying to be funny. I think the 5 seed is locked for the Big Ten loser. Here's my reasoning for that. Ohio State's probably not gonna lose to Michigan. But I know that when they play Oregon, whoever loses that game is probably locked into that shit. And the reason I'd still put Ohio State over any of those teams that are behind them, you beat Penn State. Notre Dame's not playing on championship weekend. Why am I punishing Ohio State for losing to the number 1 team in the country again when those teams didn't play?
I mean, simply put, I mean, who have you beat?
Yeah,
ranked teams.
I'm saying Ohio State has beaten Indiana. They've beaten Penn State.
That's what I'm saying. Simply, that's
simple. That's literally what it comes down to. They've beaten those teams, so I'd still lock them in at 5. And if Oregon was to lose, I'd still lock them in at 5.
I feel that. I definitely lean towards Ohio State probably being the highest, just because I also feel like the committee is biased towards Ohio State all the time. But outside of that, Ohio State, even though I don't feel like they played anybody either outside of Oregon. They did play somebody. They played Indiana, and they won. They played Penn State, and they won. So, numbers-wise, they easily have the better resume. Texas hasn't played anybody outside of Georgia, and if you go and lose to them again, I just don't even know what to say about that. I think Texas, they could easily put Penn State in front of Texas. I don't know
Yeah,
if they would,
they might do that,
but I don't think they would, just out of respect, quote unquote, as they said, they respect the conference championship games and they respect the teams that make it. Out of respect for the SEC conference championship game, if they have any, they might not do that. But we'll go ahead and move on here to those last couple of seeds. We'll talk about the 9 through 12 seeds as well as the first team and second team out. Second team out, we got Alabama. God loves God. God really loves Bama. That might be God's favorite team outside of Georgia, but you got them as the team out, and then you got Clemson as the first team out there. And like we said, we have Arizona State being the highest ranked Big 12 team. They take that 12th spot. And then at the 11th spot, we have Indiana, who took a loss to Ohio State. Unfortunately, that was the only formidable opponent they've had all season, so they had to take a tumble after that loss. And being that if it wasn't for a last touchdown in the last 2 minutes or so, the score would have made more sense and it would have matched what actually happened on that field on Saturday. At the 10th spot, we got SMU representing the ACC, potentially can win themselves into one of those top 4 spots. And then to round it off, we have at the 9 seed Tennessee, 9-2. All they got to do is win out. It is a tough game for them this weekend. Definitely not something to sleepwalk through at all. Vanderbilt, I mean, on the road, I think it's a spoiler. It's definitely a spoiler alert there.
Might be.
But let's first go ahead and start off with SMU there. Let's just say they lose the ACC. Get this out the way. They lose an ACC championship. Is there any way they stay into these top 12? I mean, they wouldn't have much wiggle room at all. They have 1 seed to fall. So do y'all see that?
It's a possibility. You're still punishing them for losing their conference championship game, but you're opening a window for teams behind them. More so to me, Clemson than Alabama than anything.
Yeah. I mean, it also has to be noted, they did not say they weren't punishing. They did not say that. I think without saying it, he said we will be. Because he said plain and clear. That's probably the only, I won't say the only thing. I'm tough on word manual out of, just for the jokes, honestly. But I respected how he said we were asked to rank these teams and judge these teams all the way through the season. They didn't say stop at the last regular season game. They told us they wanted us to rank these teams all the way through and include the conference championship. So it's a game. They're going to treat it like any other game. I think they'll try to give people benefit of the doubt for being in an SEC championship game or a Big 10 championship game. Not the ACC, baby. I don't think you're getting that. Big 12, I don't think you're getting that. I don't think so.
Am I the only one that think that's just unfair? Like,
it is a little.
Like,
what
if you're telling me SMU jumps into the ACC championship and then they lose to Miami, so now Clemson gets into the playoffs when they couldn't even make the ACC championship, that makes sense. That's so bad. That's horrible. That's horrible.
Reason. And that's not trying to be funny. That's part of the reason I know it's not Clemson, but it's Alabama. Alabama has 3 losses. That's one of the reasons I don't think that they could hop in. You lost 3 times.
Guys, it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
It does, but it's just.
They're doing the 14 playoff, and it's looking like it's trending like it's ability to do it in the 12 team.
I can't see.
Bro, y'all are not letting go of this 14 playoff, bro. Let it go.
No, it's not even about that. It's just the things that we've said and the things that I've said to y'all, and I've said to y'all being delusional. Like I told you were delusional, thinking Indiana was only going to drop 1 spot, and not because I'm so gun-ho on Indiana dropping all the way to the 11th spot. It's just, hey, let's look at, and I say, I'm not trying to cut y'all off all the time, but I will literally say, hold on. Before you tell me what you think gonna happen, show me proof that this is going to happen. Because I have plenty of proof to show you. They will drop your ass 9 spots. We've seen it multiple times. We have proof that you're not gonna just drop 1 spot for losing a game. So why would they do that for SMU?
But the difference is that's losing a regular season game versus losing your conference championship. That's completely different. Like,
they didn't say they were going to weigh those games differently, though. They were asked that, and he chose not to say that they will.
Well, I mean, whether they do or they don't, that's up to them. But we're just saying that's ass. Like, that's just an ass. Like,
oh yeah, we can all. It's always 2 sides to the argument or to the discussion of. That's why I asked y'all, hey, do you feel like this is what's going to happen, or you feel like what should happen? Because those can be 2 different things at times. And we can talk about that, what we think should happen. I think you should take into account that it's a conference championship game. However, I think you should take into account what conference it is. I think bias exists regardless, and it's hard to take bias out of your decision regardless of what somebody tells you to do. You should be biased towards the Big Ten and the ACC.
I don't think you
This
could
year.
take into account. I don't think you could take into account what conference it is, because at this point, looking at this chart right here, if SMU drops and Clemson goes up, because SMU loses in the conference championship game,
Yeah, uproar.
that's ass, because they couldn't make that conference championship game that we not giving credibility to because it's ACC, and Clemson couldn't even make that, but they get boosted to the playoffs because SMU lost in it. That's backwards.
Yeah, but the only thing about that is SMU would then only have one conference loss, and so did Clemson. But again, an extra game. That's also the other thing to that. I will also say, to me, I feel like you would have to. I still would put Clemson in over them, just because at that point, I don't think you can do it out of pity or just because they lost the conference championship game. I think you have to have some real reasoning behind it. And if we look at the criteria, you take some type of criteria, take whatever you want, strength of schedule, eye test, whatever. Me personally, at that point, I would look at eye test. Clemson looks better than SMU. I don't think Clemson good, but they look better than SMU. So
Clemson played.
He said, "Who's Clemson?"
Who the fuck Clemson played?
I said they look better. I didn't say I was taking strength of schedule. I said eye test. I didn't say strength of schedule. All of these things are separate. You can look at all of those things at once, but I just said eye test. And they said we watched the games. So
They beat Pitt by 4 points.
hey, brother, I said
SMU beat them by 30.
Hey, brother,
The eyes say a lot on them two games right there. You know what I'm saying?
SMU. They lost to BYU. Where's BYU?
Clemson lost to Louisville. Where they at?
We could do it all day, so it will come down to
No, you can't, because that's the only loss you can do for SMU. It's BYU, who is a top 10 ranked team.
Yeah, but then their only other loss is.
Well, they were a top 10 when they lost to them.
Yeah.
And then they lost to Georgia. They lost to Georgia at the beginning of the year. And Georgia's going to be where? Top 4? Georgia's going to be top 4.
I don't know about that one, but you know, they lost to Georgia. I'm not hating. I swear to God, I'm not hating. I just don't know about top 4. But they lost to Georgia.
You don't even know who Georgia's playing. So if they win the SEC championship, they're top 4.
Tennessee Tech, they finna whip y'all ass again.
Tennessee Tech. Anyways, we'll move on from that, at least talking about SMU there. If they win, you're in. If you lose, it's up to everybody else. I think we kind of will. We can feel how we want to feel, but the math is the math. You're at the 10 seed. You can only go to the 11 seed. The probability that you lose and only drop 1 seed, unless there's some chaos, it's very low. It's very low.
You know what's really frustrating me here? Indiana, Penn State, and Notre Dame. Tennessee, not so much, because it's like they have to beat Vanderbilt in their end. Indiana and Penn State are annoying me because the one hard game on their schedule, they lost, and it's just like everybody's cool with that. That's frustrating to me. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, Notre Dame has the. I'm gonna keep harping on Notre Dame because they're above Georgia and Tennessee to me, and they just got the nastiest loss, and that doesn't sit well with me. Yes, they've been whooping everybody's ass since then, but that loss is a stain to me.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, though, they, like Carlos, you complain about with preseason rankings. I don't think preseason rankings have much of anything to do with college football playoff rankings, but people act like that first ranking don't mean anything. It definitely does, because you then are put in a position where some major things have to happen for a lazy-ass team like Penn State for you to actually just drop them for real. So if you already put them up so high, and then the only game that they have with a formidable opponent, they lose, and you don't really move them for real, then they're gonna just continue to sit there. So those first rankings, people say it don't matter. It don't matter. It matters when you only got one game left that means something or is a formidable opponent, or if you have no games left with a formidable opponent, aka Notre Dame. So I don't know. It's all blame on where they rank these teams from the beginning. That's why I think some people I've heard just people that watch the show or whatever just say y'all, or me, because I'm the only person that really be on that with the committee. But they'll
Yes.
say, "Why are y'all on that?" It's like, bro, this matters because I see Penn State only can play Ohio State. They can't put no teams on the schedule. They lose to Ohio State. They don't play in the Big Ten championship. You're
Yeah, they're
not gonna sit here and tell me you're gonna move you're gonna move Penn State, but so far down. I already know how y'all finna do. So now we just got Penn State in the way. We don't know how good they really are. They only played one formidable opponent. I mean, Ohio State got points for me. I mean, granted, Indiana might not be that good, but you played a formidable opponent. Y'all went in there and y'all did what y'all supposed to do. So I got to give you kudos for that. Penn State, y'all played one formidable opponent. Y'all didn't do anything. Ohio State didn't look good against Penn State, so I was still kind of like, y'all both might be trash. But we seen what Ohio State did against Indiana. Indiana could also be trash, and Ohio State could still not be hitting on nothing for real. But I would more bet on the latter of Penn State not being on nothing.
I'm also, obviously this isn't in concrete. I'm also of the belief that I think that they'll try their hardest to avoid rematches in the playoff. So I don't think that they would. I don't think that they would do a Georgia Tennessee thing again.
Well, they already said they're not avoiding rematches. They said that.
I think
Straight.
they would. I think they try to avoid rematches early.
I don't think they'll have to do much work. I don't think they'll. I don't
It's
think.
gonna work itself out though.
Yeah, I don't think they will, and they're definitely not going to avoid a quarterfinals rematch. Like that's just
Yeah, that's not gonna.
like they're not going to do
That's
that.
what I'm talking about.
So
I'm talking about first. I strictly meant first round.
oh, first round, I think
Yeah.
it's just it'll all take care of itself. It's no way that's going to happen. There's no way Tennessee and Georgia can be sitting right next to each other. There's no way.
Yeah.
So that'll take care of itself. I don't think anybody wants to see Tennessee. I wouldn't mind seeing Tennessee play Alabama again. I would hope Kalen DeBoer comes with a little more something, but
That don't
I
need to
wouldn't
happen.
mind seeing it. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
That
I
don't
wouldn't
need to
mind seeing
happen.
it. This weekend we have Texas going to Texas A&M Kyle Field, playing them nice and late, 7:30 p.m. on
Sound
ABC.
fatty.
The lights are gonna be bright. The ghosts are gonna be present at Kyle Field. They're gonna be out there shooting them cannons and all that extra stuff. I don't really know what Texas is ready for, if they're even ready for it at all. They weren't ready for a big game against Georgia on their own field. I don't know how they're going to fare going to Kyle Field. But of course, that's why you got to play the games on the field. Let's dive right into it. Everything is honestly somewhat evenly matched if we're talking about Texas being on offense versus Texas A&M being on defense. I mean, Texas A&M being on offense. The offenses are both somewhat a little average. They've had to make some big adjustments, of course. Texas, although this was at the beginning of the year, lost multiple running backs, had to readjust. Jaden Blue looking nice back there. Does need to work on some fumbling issues. But when we get to talk about Texas defense, they haven't really played anybody. But at the end of the day, you have to give credit where credit is due. They're number 2 when it comes to total defense, number 2 for pass defense. Rush defense, they're top 15. Third down, they're pretty nice. Top 10, third down conversion, keeping teams from converting on third down. They're top 10. Texas defense is nice. Now, we've also seen where they have not played anybody. What do you do? What do we see happening this weekend when it comes to Texas A&M? Specifically, what do you feel like Texas A&M has to do to get the win? And we'll start with you, GP.
D-line got to bring pressure. Quinn Ewers has an ankle sprain. He's supposed to start and he's supposed to play, but he's gonna have an ankle sprain. So you got to make him attempt to move, bring pressure where he has to move, and it puts some pressure on that ankle. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be rowdy. I think the defense is gonna have to come through for them. And then offensively, grind the game out. I don't know if that's like quarterback runs or just running the ball. Like you got to control the clock because Texas defense is good, but like Texas offense is going to try to score points to try to quiet the crowd.
Yeah, not even a try. They have no.
They have to. Yeah, honestly, they got to try to shut A&M's crowd up very quickly. So
Absolutely.
good luck with that.
BT, what do you see the offense needing to do as far as Texas A&M to get the win?
You said Texas A&M offense?
Yeah, what does Texas A&M need to do to get that? I mean, at the end of the day, this game is for the final spot in the SEC championship, so they better bring everything they got. I really don't feel like this is a time to be safe in plays.
Yeah, whether it's Marcel Reed or Connor Wegman, they need to find some ways to be explosive on the offensive side of the ball. I feel like their wide receivers have been a little dormant, been a little quiet as of the last few games. Might be a reason why CJ Wiley took a visit out there, and then ended up not committing to those back-to-back college football playoff champions, some dogs. But yeah, they're gonna have to do something to actually help their defense because I think their defense, as Grant already alluded to, they're gonna do their thing as long as they maintain their rush lanes and keep Quinn Ewers pinned in that pocket on that bum ankle, and the offense can find some ways to be explosive. And also one last thing, somebody's gonna have to find a spark in the special teams game. And normally that's been, as of the last few lates, even throughout the Jimbo Fisher era, they've had some good, some very good special teams units. If that shows up, might have all the components you need for an upset.
Yeah, you made some valid points there. The wide receiver's been dormant. I mean, Noah Thomas, he's pretty nice, but he's only sitting at about 500 yards right now. And he needs to step it up. Le'Veon Moss is not going to be playing as far as I know right now. So they're missing some very, very important weapons. I think Le'Veon Moss he's so dynamic that I'm not sure that they even end up in situations that they were in when you talk about a game at Auburn. He pretty much changes a lot of games that they've had that have been close or that they've lost, like last week going against Auburn. But we'll talk about Texas real quick here. Los, if we're talking about Quinn Ewers, you were one of those people that said you didn't like how they handled Arch Manning in the Georgia game. Let's just say Texas A&M brings the pressure like they should, and they have Quinn Ewers looking similar to how he looked going against Georgia at that game earlier in the year.
Sit his ass down. Sit his ass down. Two drives.
Coach.
You ain't producing. Sit his ass down. We ain't even waiting on it. All right, we need to have learned our lesson by now. We should have learned our lesson the first time. It's the same thing with Florida.
Okay.
Graham Mertz, go out. You take Graham Mertz out the game and put DJ Lagway in the game. The next game we come back, Graham Mertz back in the game. Why? What are we doing?
There's a big difference between Graham Mertz and Quinn Ewers, though. We can't treat them the same. I understand the why and why is Graham Mertz back in the game the next game, but we can't
sit his ass down. he done played long enough that y'all don't think Quinn Ewers been in the game long enough this season, and y'all don't think that offense is booming how it need to be. I ain't seen too much footage from Arch, but the footage I did see, it was more good than bad. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm inclined to agree with Los. You can't mess around with this. More so because a loss to A&M is just super bad, and it's too much bullshit behind you if you have two losses of teams that maybe could jump you. Honestly,
but also
because you ain't playing nobody.
But also, y'all beat them. But let's have a little bit more respect. Texas by 15. Okay, 15 is crazy, but Texas by 12.
I mean, right now they're favored by 6. You don't want
Texas by 12 against who?
You want to
against Texas A&M.
And that's interesting.
Wait. Your pick is who?
He has Texas by
12.
12.
We're gonna say covering. I'm gonna say 10 to be safe. They're gonna cover the spread said 5.5 when I just looked at it. They're covering the 5.5.
All right. I didn't know it dropped to 5.5. It did actually.
And the under is gonna hit also. Because Texas A&M is not going to be scoring like people think they are. But you didn't hear it from me, though.
I don't know about the spread aspect, but I do think Texas A&M can't keep up in a shootout, in my opinion. I don't think so. Yeah, we just saw Auburn. Yeah, we just saw him do it with Auburn with the 40-point game and all that shit. But that's
this ain't Auburn.
Yeah,
this ain't Auburn.
Texas actually has a defense, so I don't know. I just I ain't gonna lie. I think the emotions are gonna be more high than anything. Like this is the first time we've seen this game in like 12 years, something like that. It's been a minute. And there's a first time chance for either one of these teams to make the SEC championship. More so, like that's more embarrassing for A&M that they've never been to the SEC championship after being in the league for 12 years.
They've been to SEC West. Is it really?
That's embarrassing.
I don't think so.
Cap. The over under is 48 points. That is extremely low. They must have already been thinking what I was thinking. Yeah. I'll take that over under thought back. 48 points.
It's a little embarrassing.
I don't think it's any type of embarrassing. Outside of Johnny Manziel, when did they have a chance?
That's their fault.
No, I'm saying, but this is their first year. This is their first year.
No.
Outside of Johnny Manziel, no, bro. No.
Well, let me take that back. This is the
Bro,
first.
are we really finna sit here? And
No,
act
no,
like
I'm
this
saying,
is
hold
Nick
on.
Saban's conference?
No, I'm saying this is the first year they've been up to that point where you've been like, oh shit, y'all actually got a chance to get in this motherfucker. Beforehand, they had expectations. They'd be ranked in the top 10 routinely, and then they would lose.
Yeah, they was doing the same thing Ole Miss was doing. They were all just hand in hand. Texas A&M just took a deeper dive, but they done the same thing. Even when they beat Bama, what they
I'm
also
just saying
they lost the field or some weird stuff.
I'm just saying we've seen LSU make the conference championship twice.
Sir.
LSU is LSU.
Why? What are you talking about? Texas A&M, just recruiting alone, they're not comparable. Recruiting alone, they're not comparable.
Their best asset transferred to Oklahoma, bro.
They're not comparable recruiting. They're not comparable when you're talking about their best team versus LSU's best team in the last 10 years.
Of course not, in that regard.
At all. But, of course, we'll go ahead and move on to these final picks here. Carlos, you already got you have Texas covering, so that's just a -6 or -5.5, depending on who you guys are gambling with. GP, where are you sitting with it?
We're talking about gambling. Not taking no spreads.
Come
We're
back
going money lines. We're going all money lines out here.
I'm just saying the spread.
I know. Give me 30 more seconds. Come back to me.
BT.
My brother, I'm going to take Texas in the nail biter by 3 points.
All right, I like it. So they will not cover, but they will win. I like it. GP.
I'll be contrarian. I'll say A&M money line. The heart does not feel that way.
Ooh, I feel it.
I'm only saying A&M. It's just more so the emotion. Something happens emotionally that rattles Texas. For the
I'm gonna take.
I think so too.
That's the only thing. Oh, but it's frustrating me that A&M keeps talking so much. You got to shut up and stuff like this. You just got to be like, hey.
I kind of trust my Elko though, bro. He talks.
Yeah, but I mean that talking gets extremely loud when somebody talk hella shit beforehand and then they actually they back them like, oh shit, maybe these niggas is not playing with us.
Hey, Elko, you can tell Elko focused. He been focused the last 2 weeks. That's why they lost to Auburn.
Yeah,
I told you he slipped up and said that he was preparing for Texas. Should have been preparing for Auburn. He wouldn't have had to deal with this.
I was preparing for Texas. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna take Texas A&M +6 though. I'll just take that. But I'm gonna take +6. I'm gonna take what the good gambling sites give me. I'll take +6. All right. So we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, we'll talk about one rivalry game that is much more lopsided than it has been in the last couple of years, and unfortunately, we don't have either one of their fans here to talk
Georgia,
about
Florida. We don't play this week.
Bro.
You said a rivalry that's lopsided. Georgia, we don't play Florida this week.
Look at him. Hey, look at them knee pads.
Okay. Hey,
so we have Michigan going down to play Ohio
State. To
the horseshoe to take on Ohio State. In the last couple of years, Michigan has had this game in the chokehold, has had Ohio State's number. But Jim Harbaugh is not there anymore. They're not going to have that O-line, that famous O-line to come save them anymore. And as much as we didn't think J.J. McCarthy was the reason, he surely was the reason for the season, and they definitely could use him right now. But, again, we got Michigan going to Ohio State. I think it's pretty lopsided. I honestly just don't see how Michigan wins this game. The only chance that they have is the fact that they have just had Ohio State's number for the last couple of years, and Blackbeard, Ryan Day, is soft. But other than that, I don't think they have a chance. And even with Ryan Day being a barely above average coach, in my opinion, I don't think they're not going to lose this game. There's no way. But how do you guys see it? Ohio State is favored by 20.5 points. So how do y'all see it? We'll just go straight to picks. I don't think we really need to talk about it for real.
Ohio State gonna unleash the wrath of God on these dudes. This is 3 L's in a row that they've had built up. They might beat them by 40, and I am not exaggerating.
I feel it. BT.
O State. Don't know the score. I think Michigan's gonna fight though for sure. I definitely don't think Michigan's gonna be like, okay, where's it at?
It's in Columbus.
At the horseshoe, so
yeah, it's in Columbus.
At the shoe. Still ain't worried. Michigan coming out with that swagger. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I like them two big boys in the middle. Mr. Graham, and then
Kenneth Grant.
and then the other gentleman. Yeah, Kenneth Graham. Excuse me.
Two big boys in the middle.
Yeah,
Is
two Grahams,
crazy.
correct?
You said what?
The Graham brothers, right? Mason Graham and Kenneth Graham.
It's Kenneth Grant, I think.
Grant
Mason
and
Oh,
Grant.
Grant. So my bad. Yeah, Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant. I apologize.
My
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. It's gonna be. Yeah, I think those boys are gonna be hungry. I think they're gonna get after Mr. Howard. So we'll see.
So
Close
what
game.
you see on the what you see? Oh, close game. So you don't see Ohio State coming.
No, I'm definitely taking Michigan on those points.
I'm sorry.
20 and a half.
We're actually very lucky that Bob and
Yeah, 3
Evan
touchdowns.
are not here today. They
I mean,
beating the brakes off them.
Yeah, I'd have to mute them at some point. Los, how are you seeing it being 20 and a half spread, or how you see them covering that?
I don't know. I want to say yes because I trust Ohio State way more than I do Michigan, but I don't trust Ohio State to cover anything because they've been struggling to cover any spread this year.
They have
So,
spread this year.
huh?
They're 6-5 against the spread.
Yeah, that's absolutely horrible. Because 5 of them teams that they didn't cover the spread, or not 5 of them teams, but at least like 3 of them teams have been coverable games. So it's like,
Yeah.
sure.
And news here, spread has gone up 22.5, so you can't even get 20 and a half.
That's crazy. I'm gonna skip out on the spread. I do think Ohio State wins by 2 touchdowns. I think this is the moment they've been waiting. They've been waiting for this sorry Michigan team for some years, boy. They've been waiting. They have been waiting for this team to be so sorry so they could beat the dog water out of them. And yeah, 2 touchdowns.
It might be one of the last times Michigan is this bad, though.
But Michigan's not that bad, though. I mean, all they're really missing is kind of quarterback play. They got 2 dogs at running back still with Donovan Edwards, and
Donovan Edwards don't do nothing. He don't do nothing. Let's stop. Let's stop.
He got bursting vision. He still got bursting vision. And,
nah, bro, they're that bad. They're bad.
He don't do nothing.
And motivated against their rival. You never know how people play.
That's the only. I'm sorry. That's the only play that I can accept here is that it's a rivalry game and it's a big rivalry game, and the fact that Michigan's won the last 3 times. It's a psychological edge.
Yeah, like why wouldn't you want to go 4?
Yeah, it's just a psychological edge, but I just can't see it.
Yeah, I can't see it. I think the only way the psychological edge even comes into effect is a leader on that team has to really they have to take the game in their hands. And I don't even know who they have that can do that. So if it's not one of the QBs that comes in and sparks fear, or the O-line that sparks fear, I don't think the defense can do it, just because the defense has been playing good all year and they've still been losing. Because there's only so many times I can keep stopping a top. I mean, we're talking about Ohio State here. They are top 10 in red zone scoring. So you get down there, you're probably not stopping them. They're probably going to get at least 3 on you. And then, of course, they're top 5 when it comes to points per game and yards per play. There's only so many times Michigan going to realistically stop them without Michigan's offense having to tap into the game. So I can't put it on the Michigan defense. They're going to show up. They're going to do their thing. But somebody on that offense got to put some fear into Ohio State's defense. And we talking about Ohio State's defense. They're the number 1 defense in the nation right now, as far as the stats say. But you're going to have to come to play. I understand what you're saying, BT. They're not absolutely trash, but they are not good. I think missing a quarterback on a team that can't run like you usually can run, that's a big thing. So we'll see what happens. I don't have Ohio State covering. If they do, so be it. Evan's probably going to hear this and say we hate Ohio State just because we said they're not covering. But whatever. It's not even the fact that it's not even thinking about that. I just think 20 and a half. I mean, now we're not even talking 20 and a half. We're talking 22 and a half. That's 3 touchdowns and a point. I don't know about that. And the only thing that Michigan probably can do is pray that maybe it snows or something. That would definitely help them. They might want to pray for that. It might help them a lot.
I'm definitely taking them points, though. I think that's add that to the low-C locks.
Honestly, I don't think Will Johnson is playing this game either.
Will Johnson is not projected to play, so they haven't counted him out, but he's not projected to play.
He's not playing.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on him playing. So we got that.
Good luck. Good luck covering those receivers.
Yeah. Any last thoughts on that game?
Ohio State big, bro. Ohio State big.
Ohio State big.
Ohio State arching it minus 13.5.
Arching it.
Alternate.
Hey, I gotta put the headphones down.
Hello.
Oh nah.
Arching it. What? What?
Wait, brother. I didn't know what you said.
No, brother, you wait.
You
Hold
need to
on.
enunciate those words.
Oh my god!
That
Don't ever
is
please
absolutely mother.
Yeah, don't ever say that again.
Right.
Please.
I was arching it.
Yeah, that is crazy. They not gonna be arching. First of all, if anybody on that field gonna be arching, it's gonna be Michigan because they about to get. Michigan's about to get.
All right, moving on.
Okay. All right, we're done.
Yeah, we're done. Here. All right, we have this weekend another good noon game paired along with Ohio State, Michigan. So if that game really turns out like the people have predicted, with Ohio State winning big or being up big, you can go ahead and turn your channels over to ESPN. We'll have Clemson going against South Carolina. Clemson will be at the crib at Memorial Stadium. This is a big game, probably a game that we already felt like would be a big game with South Carolina getting hot at the right time. But I honestly didn't see Clemson making it through with only 2 losses. I thought they had 3 losses right now. So I didn't know that this game would essentially have Clemson either be able to win and play themselves in if SMU or someone takes a loss somewhere within that top 11 seed. But we also have South Carolina. I think it may take a lot more than just a win against Clemson to get them in. They'll have to have some chaos. But the worst they can do is just simply win and let the chips fall where they may. How do we see this game faring out? We have Cade Klubnik, who apparently is playing a lot better than he was at the beginning of the year. I, for one, am not a believer in it. But we're talking about Dabo. What could this do to Dabo's legacy if South Carolina comes into Memorial Stadium and wins? What do you see there, Loves?
Me personally, I'm not sold on Klubnik. I guess he's been playing better, but Clemson just overall just looks shaky. I think Clemson's just done for. I mean, right now they have the record they have, but I think the reign of Clemson is done for. Nobody wants to see that. I don't want to see that in the playoffs. I just pray SMU doesn't lose. Only stance I have no stance on Clemson. I just pray SMU doesn't lose. My only stance is I don't want to see Dabo in there no more. I don't like Dabo. I don't normally dislike coaches, but for some reason, something about Dabo just don't.
He's annoying. He be whining.
Probably what it is. But yeah, I can't. I can't take.
You your next coach at Florida?
Hell no.
My bad. Just checking.
I'll be in the transfer. I'll be in the transfer portal.
Oh my God, BT, what do you see? What do you see happening if South Carolina goes into Memorial Stadium, which they are more than capable of doing, and getting the win? What do you see if that happens for Dabo?
I think Dabo could be very, very upset. Really depends on what Barrett Carter and Peter Woods do on the first and second levels of the defense, D-line and linebacker core. Just like I said, Lenore Sellers, South Carolina, they're definitely going to run the ball. They're definitely going to have the rushing attack. It's been very, very strong the last 3-4 weeks. And they've been putting the ball in there a little bit as well. South Carolina's offense is growing right before our eyes. And if Clemson doesn't come to play with some physicality and the Clemson brand of football that they're allegedly known for, then I think they could actually be in for a tough night.
Yeah, that could be a long night if they don't show up how they need to show up, which I'm not really sure if they have something that can match South Carolina's intensity on the defensive side of the ball. South Carolina's defense is not one to play with, and they're not going to slow up. And I think Shane Beamer, for one, would love to go in there and run it up.
They fast and physical.
Sure, for sure. GP, how did you see this one faring out? Of course, we got South Carolina. They're on the road. However, they are only down by 3 points there. We have Clemson favored by 3. Where do you see it?
If Clemson can protect Cade Klubnik from the D-line, I think Clemson will have a decent chance of winning this game. They also have a pretty decent defense. I think the biggest thing for Clemson's defense is making sure that you actually get Lenore Sellers to the ground.
Yeah, that's true. They're actually, my apologies, they're favored by 2.5. Are you taking the 2.5 there?
Sure. I'm assuming I'm gonna just do it just because they want anything.
I got you.
There's a lot on the line for both of these teams, though.
Playoffs.
Yeah, damn near.
If you want to be in, you better win it. BT, how do you see it when we're talking about the spread there? Clemson's favored by 2.5 right now.
I mean, it's about right. I mean, you're at home, so to me, it kind of sounds like it's a toss-up.
And this would be a field toss-up. It will be even, yeah.
Right, so I'm going to say, like I said, I would take South Carolina.
I feel it.
Yeah, I might take South Carolina in the game. Like I said, I'm just kind of really impressed with the offense and what they're able to put together. So they're really rallying behind their Coach Beamer, and they're doing the thing. So I'm impressed.
Yep. Carlos, how do you see it? I know you don't want to see Clemson in. The best thing for you then is for South Carolina to win. But what do you foresee happening? Clemson is favored by 2.
See, personally, Clemson taking the minus 2.5, honestly. Hunters played some decent games, and I mean, they played some good games against some good teams. But for some reason, when the good teams play against the sorrier teams or something like that, they always play to that level, and then they end up getting dog walked for some reason. I don't necessarily see it being a blowout, but if Clemson does pull it out, I think they do cover the minus 2.5.
Sure. That's true. I like it. We'll see, of course. It is very definitely have to note this. As far as Clemson's defense goes, they're top 10 when it comes to keeping opponents from converting on third down. They are a pretty good defense. I think it gets simply overshadowed by just how not good their opponents are, for one. So they don't get much credit for it. And then you got an offense that is just honestly just lazy. They're not. They're just not good. I think they've taken advantage of some weak opponents, like I said. So they are top 20 in points per game and top 20 in this and top 20 in that. That offense ain't good. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm cool with dying on the hill. I'm going to go Shane Beamer, South Carolina Gamecocks. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win the game. I'll just go ahead and take that 2.5 easily. I think they're going to win the game outright. I think they're going to win it. But that's why we play the game. So at the end of the day, we got to see what's going on. But real quick, we'll go ahead and knock out some of these other games that we have. At the end of the day, it's rivalry week. I actually want y'all to let me know, what is y'all's favorite rivalry that doesn't involve your favorite team?
Probably would say Ohio State, Michigan, just because the sheer hatred between those two teams.
I feel that, BT.
I kind of I would definitely go Ohio State, Michigan. There's a lot of hate there, but to me, I kind of really like the theatrics of the Egg Bowl too. It's kind of
that was a fun one.
Always kind of some fireworks and some crazy celebrations. Elijah Moore back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Acting like a dog. He's on at the sport.
I feel it. Los, what's your favorite rivalry outside of anything that involves Florida?
I personally will have to go with between 3 games for me. Mm-hmm. And number one, I'll probably say Ohio State, Michigan, just because of the hype behind it. But number 2 and number 3 on the list in no order is Army, Navy, and North Carolina, Duke. Even though this year wasn't really.
Yeah, that's real. And of course, we love North Carolina Duke basketball, but football is a good one as well. I'm not gonna lie. For me, of course, honestly, if it wasn't for Evan and Bob and probably our good nephew West, I probably wouldn't like Ohio State, Michigan that much. As much as I love E, one of my great friends, I really do enjoy seeing Evan crash out when Ohio State looks the way that they do. It's nothing like it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's really crazy to see how real the hate is. The hate is so real that when he lost to us, in that college football playoff semifinal, he wasn't even mad. Like, it was really just pure sadness.
I linked up with him the next day, actually.
When Michigan beats Ohio State, it's just pure, like, you don't know what that man about to do, bro.
You don't want to talk.
So that makes it great for me. But I have to say my personal favorite outside of any Georgia game, I like the Iron Bowl probably because I've been, and I really do believe in the weird things and the weird spiritual nature that goes on at Georgia.
That is a great one, though. Iron Bowl, I've definitely been to that. That's crazy.
Only because I went and nothing has changed from a kid to an adult. It's all weird. And it's ironic that the last time I was in Auburn when they played Alabama, it looked similar to what it looked like last year. And last year I was out there. And I'm like, bro, what is it about Jordan Hare that just makes Alabama look just like some goofies immediately? Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing.
This is
but of course, what was you about to say, GP?
I was gonna say this is low-key one of the first years the Iron Bowl has no real implications on anything.
Excuse me?
It don't really have too many implications for real.
Oh, it does, brother. I think Caitlin DeBoer.
If he loses that game, people gonna look at him crazy, especially being a 4-loss team.
Kalen DeBoer can mess around and lose this game. I'm not sure of their first couple of games next year, but he could be in a very, very, very ugly position. I don't think they have time. They don't have time to give time like this. Not like this. Not like this. So I'm not sure what their games are. I'm actually gonna look up real quick who they play at the beginning of next year. But no, dog.
Oh, they play Florida State. They open up with Florida State next year.
Let them lose that game. Let them lose that game. Let them lose that game.
You know, DJ's coming back for his 10th year of eligibility to break Bo Nick's all-time starter games record. So
they play.
Alabama's gonna get a win if they play DJ. So it'll be okay.
They play Florida State to start the year, and then they play Wisconsin as well. But
and then the SEC games are undetermined.
Yeah, that's true. I know for sure we'll have. We can talk about that a little maybe later in the week, next week. I think they're gonna have a different quarterback in Tuscaloosa next year, so I think it's gonna be a different quarterback.
Going to the league, boy.
Huh?
Jalen going to the league. We're trying to.
I don't know if he should do that, but he should leave.
That's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But we'll go ahead and just run down real quick some good picks for these other in-conference rivalries, out-of-conference rivalries. Just top 25 rivalries, though. If you or your rival ain't in the top 25, we don't even need to be talking about you. But, of course, we'll start off with the good one. UGA is going to have Georgia Tech coming to town in Athens. Good old fight for the state of Georgia. How do we guys see that one faring out? Just simple picks. Georgia is their favorite, 19.5. That is absolutely insane to me.
That is absolutely where they should be, bro. That is where they should be. I don't want to hear the whole this is in conference, blah, blah, blah. They always play tough. But y'all should dog walk Georgia Tech, bro.
It has. I'm gonna say, I'll be honest, it has nothing to do with the team. It has more to do with the fact that we don't cover spreads this year.
That's not our problem. Y'all not covering the spreads. It's just y'all playing ass. But that's the spread y'all supposed to have against that team.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna win the game. We're
gonna win the game.
We'll win the game. I don't think we cover the spread. You said 19. You said 19. We probably win by 17.
Maybe 19.5. I don't think
we probably win by 17.
I just think, no, it's a no for me. I can't say that I'm along with the 19.5 spread when I was just against a 22.5 spread for a Michigan team that's way worse than Georgia Tech. So I can't. I would be contradicting myself. I don't think it should be 19.5. I'm not taking that. But the over's 53.5.
What's Georgia Tech record?
7-4. They're good. They're pretty decent.
Ain't that much worse than Michigan.
7-4 and trying to play spoiler.
Who's Michigan's best win? Name it.
No, but I ain't sold on Miami.
All right.
That's Georgia Tech's best win. Miami.
All right, thank you. Moving on.
Miami not that crazy to me though. They don't have defense. They don't have a lick of defense. BT, you get 2 good stops on Miami, you won the game.
BT, how are you looking at this game?
What game? To Georgia Tech?
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Georgia's favorite 19.5. Of course, we're going Georgia, but do you see them covering the spread? Man, on his temple run.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a tough game. Like you said, people continue to downplay our rivals till our rivals start beating us. Then we start bragging on how bad we beat Kentucky, a la Florida, but we ain't gonna get to that. You know? But like I said, Georgia Tech wants nothing more than to beat us. Like I said, their head coach went to Georgia Tech, just like Clark Lee went to Vanderbilt, just like Kirby with Georgia. So, like, these programs are starting to turn around with the swiftness because people are just starting to take more pride in their own alma mater and what they do with the product that they put out there. So, I think it's definitely going to be physical. They got some athletes. Haynes King, like I said, he's, a very, very good athletic quarterback. So, we got to make sure that we're disciplined and be fundamentally sound. And we got one game. It's a one-game season. That's winning Friday. And then we'll be watching the game
at your wedding.
Yeah, in Cabo.
Yeah. All right. But we can go ahead and move on. You're taking the spread, I believe, Los.
No, I'm not touching that game. I ain't touching that game.
All right.
I would look more toward the over/under.
53.5.
Under.
Yeah, definitely. All right, but we'll go ahead and move on. Keep it in the SEC, though. Like you guys talked about, one of BTE's favorite games. The Egg Bowl got Ole Miss. They will be hosting, or they will be at home. I don't know how much that will really matter, to be honest. But we have Ole Miss going up against Mississippi State. Mississippi State has had a terrible season, but we have seen this time and time again. It doesn't really mean anything at all. But how do we see this from faring out? They are not taking into account what usually happens there. The bettors do not care. Ole Miss is favored by 26 points, and the over is 61.5. How are y'all seeing
Ole Miss favored by how much?
it? 26.
26 is a lot of points, but Mississippi State is garbage.
Yeah, Mississippi State's not good.
I feel like Ole Miss covers. I feel like Lane Kiffin wants to put his foot down somebody's throat. So I feel like Ole Miss comes out and just
Yeah, it could be that, or they could quit on the season.
Yeah.
I'm taking Mississippi State on the points. I don't think they cover 26.
GP?
I don't think they cover 26, but Ole Miss probably beat them by like 24.
We'll of course like to see that. That'll be on ABC at 3:30, and that will also be on Friday if I'm not mistaken. That will, Friday's an action-packed game, so an action-packed day.
Black Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday. It'll be nice to see. And I don't believe I said it, but the Georgia Tech game will be at 7:30 on a Friday. So ABC night game. It'll be nice to see. I think. I hope we bring them fireworks out. I ain't gonna lie. I like how they jazzed it up for the people up in Athens. During
you said fireworks. We need to buy some fireworks for the game. Then we need to do some fireworks.
He's out of
it. What do you think?
All right. And then of course, we'll still again keep it within the SEC. Unfortunately, all of these rival games that actually matter in the top 25, all these teams are ranked, so they're in the SEC. We got Tennessee traveling over to Nashville to play Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is not the old Vanderbilt. This is the new Vanderbilt, like we just talked about. These coaches went to these schools. They're taking on their old programs and turning them around fast. So we got Vanderbilt. They're having a good season, 6-5. They're going bowling regardless. Tennessee, they're going bowling, but they're looking for way more. Right now, they are sitting in the college football playoff spot of number 9 in that ranking. They're just one spot away from hosting the first round playoff game. So they need to just worry about themselves and win this game. But at the end of the day, they got to do it. The spread on that one is 10.5 going in Tennessee's way, and the over/under is 48.5. That is definitely on par. Tennessee is not about to put up too much, but Vanderbilt's defense is not the greatest. But how do you guys see that one faring out? We'll start with you, Los.
I was looking at something else. I was zoned out. Who we talking about again?
That's 10.5.
Tennessee, because of the position they're in, they have a chip on their shoulder, so they have to come out and show something. And
I mean, if they don't win,
I'm not sold on Vandy. I got them covering.
Okay, got them covering.
10.5 is crazy. I want a 9.5.
I don't have it.
But the casinos do.
All right, so Los is going 9.5 there. BT, what do you see shaking up over in Nashville? Nastyville.
Yeah, Cashville. I'm not very sure. I think it'll be a slightly closer game than what we initially think. Mr. Diego Pavia. I don't know if they come with that fighter spirit, man. They might try to spoil Tennessee's day.
Yeah, that was fun to see.
Yeah, the points is not that much, 10.5, but
they only favored by 10.5.
Yeah, I mean Tennessee, they can't.
It's because their offense probably been shaky.
The offense been shaky, and at the end of the day, we all know Tennessee does not have a backup plan as far as that offense goes.
Right.
When you figure it out, you figured it out, and that's the end of the game. They don't pivot.
Yeah, all those wide splits and all that, and you get Clemson. Yeah, I'm gonna go anchor down. Go Doors. I'm gonna take the points.
All right, I like that. GP.
Let's see.
Tennessee covered.
Let's say yeah, just cause. Where is in Nashville?
It's in Cashville, baby.
I feel like Tennessee will be locked in enough to realize that a place say yes.
All right, cool. We're just gonna go through a couple more here that I feel like the people will be interested in. USC is hosting Notre Dame. Notre Dame, they're favored by 7.5 on the road. What do y'all see there?
Ixnay on that. I'm gonna take USC points. I almost want to say money line, but I'm gonna say former UTA commit for 3 hours, Jaden Maeva. I think he's starting for USC.
You are hilarious.
Yeah, you're insane. He's a big troll, bro. You are a troll.
GP, what do you have?
I got Notre Dame winning the game.
All right. And
I just saw USC struggle.
I got Notre Dame. What's the spread?
7.
Yeah, USC. I mean, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame by. I got Notre Dame by at least 7.
I'll cover that.
I think Notre Dame can do it too. I wouldn't mind seeing them lose though. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
The way they was looking against Army,
Army's not good, dog.
neither is USC. So
I'm saying, I'm gonna be honest. This has less to do with Army and more to do with. I literally just saw USC play UCLA, even though it was a rivalry game. It wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Moving on here, we'll go ahead and skip on down to the Iron Bowl, baby. Roll Tide, is it going to be about the Tide, honestly? It hasn't been about the Tide in quite some time. Probably since they beat Georgia. So,
I don't give a piss about nothing but the damn.
They might want to care a lot about some other things. Because right now, if your happiness and joy is in the Tide, you are a very upset individual. However, Alabama will be at the crib in Tuscaloosa, favored by 11.5. How do y'all see that faring out? Will it be some weird things going on? Or will Alabama just go ahead and take business?
Be serious, man.
Alabama money line.
Y'all, Auburn ain't winning this game. Okay, so while Auburn could win this game, when's the last time Auburn has won? That's really what I want.
Hey man,
Hold on now I want to look at it. Now I want to see Iron Bowl.
Well, while you do that, let's make some other picks so we can keep
Go
putting.
for it.
Los, how you see it?
my pick, bro. Because like I said yesterday, I don't think Auburn gonna win. But Alabama is on my ban list for the rest of this year, bro. They won't see another pick on them for me. I can't do it, bro. They are banned. Alabama, though.
I feel it. All right, we'll wrap this up with the last two games. Arizona State going against Arizona. Arizona will be hosting that game. Arizona State obviously has to win this game. Some weird things have happened in this game. I feel like Arizona and Arizona State are never record-wise good at the same time. But how do y'all see this one faring out?
Arizona sucks.
Give me Arizona State, bro.
Arizona State, they're favored by only 8.5 on the road.
They ain't gonna be able to cover T-Mac, but give me Arizona State.
I like it. BT.
Mr. Fafita.
Oh yeah.
It's a roa.
I like it.
I'm going Wildcats.
Okay. I like it. To cover or to win?
You said it was 8?
8.5.
8.5. I'm gonna say point. I'm gonna say the cover. I really want to say money line. Shout out to Joy Taylor, but I don't want to do too much.
I mean, it's a risk. It's a risk enough saying they're not gonna cover. We'll see. We'll see. Los.
I think they want to be explosive one more time.
Arizona covers. I think just gotta stop Scatterboo. That's all you gotta do. Just stop Scatterboo. You stop Scatterboo, you win. That's all you gotta do. You got this big fullback white boy back there getting the ball. You know he's getting the ball. Stack the damn box. It's not Ashton Genty. He close. Like it ain't Goku. It's just Vegeta. Just stack the box, bruh. You know he getting the ball.
GP, did you get anything on the last time Auburn won in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, Cam is when Cam Newton was won the Cam back.
Yeah.
It's literally been 14 years.
That sounds about right.
Get the hell out of here.
All right, we'll end this off with a rivalry that we haven't seen in quite some time. But it's very important, and I think it'll be a good one. We got Mizzou. They are taking on Arkansas. That game is going to be at Memorial Stadium in Columbia, but I don't think that matters. We got Mizzou only favored by 3 here, over under 54.5. We are here as Georgia fans, some great fans of Arkansas just because that's our guy.
Pitt.
I'm going to have to ride with Pitt. But where do you
Taylor Green?
Wait a minute. But Sam Pittman, since we have to be clear here, Sam Pittman always rocking with Pitt. I'll just pop it off, of course. I think it'll be a close one. I'm gonna take Arkansas. I'm gonna just take Arkansas. Why not? I'm gonna just take Arkansas.
Likewise, indubitably, I'm taking the Hogs.
I like it. GP.
I'm not a big fan of Missouri.
I love it. And Los.
For the Los.
I'm an Arkansas fan because of Taylor Green. That's about it. And Landon Jackson. I know a few of the defensive players. I be using on NCAA. Before we go too far though, like, what do we mean ending it off? know we ain't got the best record. We not top 25, but you not finna disrespect Florida in this bit. Like we're okay. I mean, I understand it. We ain't gotta talk about that because
You just got real sassy there. Hold on, brother.
or everything. If we lose to Florida State, just know
y'all got bigger problems. Yeah, y'all got bigger problems.
Yeah, I'm off myself.
Okay. Yeah. Don't worry, brother. I love you. I got you. I give you the intro. I will cut it right here. Y'all will get your own video. We got Florida going down to Tallahassee to take on Florida State. Big game, colossal game. They don't need this game to go bowling because they have been on a great 2-game win streak. However, that title against Florida State. So,
loser goes to the Hot and Ready Bowl. What's going on?
How do we see this one faring out? Florida State, can they get that third win?
If Florida State wins this game, Florida has bigger issues.
Florida State wins this game.
What's the spread? I'm sorry. What's the spread?
Spread is Florida's favored by 14.5.
Florida's cover.
Florida's cover. I like to see it. Dang, DJ only got 4 touchdowns. It's time to move on.
Florida is covering.
Let's go ahead and get
it. You know how
they don't even start DJ no more.
You know how we were talking about Ohio State, Michigan. We was like, Ohio State been waiting for Michigan to be this bad.
You've been waiting for Florida State to be this bad.
I've been waiting on Florida State to be this bad. Oh my God, we better dog walk the shit out of these boys.
Y'all don't nobody.
Perfect timing.
I had to fuck up Florida State. Perfect timing. Woo! Hey, run this back after we beat Florida State. You know what I'm saying?
Hope y'all do it. I hope y'all dog walk them. I would love to see DJ Lagway do his thing. I enjoy watching him play, if I'm being honest. That'll be at 7 o'clock on Saturday night. So that's a good one to watch. I mean, definitely going to catch 30 minutes. Texas A&M gears up. So I'm going to be tapped in, ready to watch it. Honestly,
everybody out. They fake a Florida fan on the low. Hey, look at that. Hey, you been real supportive this year in Florida, my boy. Hey.
We just have no problem. Unlike you, I think you struggle not being biased. I have no problem not being biased. I can admit
I don't dislike. Whoa.
No.
I am never biased against Georgia. I'm never biased against Georgia. I don't like Carson Beck because Carson Beck is ass. I ain't said nothing bad about nobody else on that team. Nobody on the coach. Well, other than your fucking felons, but outside of that, Carson Beck is the only ass player I be calling out. I mean, some of the receivers be dropping stuff, but Carson Beck is ass.
Be dropping stuff. Some we still continue to lead the league. To lead the country, to lead the nation.
But Carson Beck is ass. That don't.
We'll see how he fares out. I think he has a great chance to be holding that most important trophy at the end of the year. So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens at the end of the day. But we have no problem admitting when our rivals are good. Florida is definitely not the rival that I hate the most. I'm here to say I absolutely hate Tennessee. So that's my least favorite rival right now. As of right now. Sometimes it's Auburn. It's never actually been Florida. I've never really hated y'all that much.
I don't hate Georgia. It's always Florida State. Florida State.
Every time he does that, beat kills me, bro.
That's gonna be it here for us. Saturday Sanctuary. Make sure y'all tap in, watch some good games on Friday. Might catch us on live. Talking about the games. Of course, you got Georgia Tech, Friday evening, Friday night. Might catch us on live.
Go Dogs.
Saturday, we got some great games to watch as well. Big kickoff. Texas playing Texas A&M 7:30. We're definitely going to be locked into that to see who Georgia will be playing in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We're probably going to be on live, if we're being honest, because technically, we owe y'all guys. We say we're going to do 3 a week, so we got to figure out how we're going to get that third one in. Surely we'll not be on Thursday. But make sure y'all tap in with us. Like, comment, subscribe, send it to your friends, send it to your girl. Make sure your girl watching your
grandma, your baby mama, your pastor, your prayer partner.
Definitely. Anybody that watches college football, bro.
Or if they don't, put them on, baby. Put them on. But that's it for us. We'll see y'all later. Have a great, happy Thanksgiving. Love y'all. We out.